my friends, and welcome back to Lost in the Dark. I am Burton, coming at you from the crypt, and welcome to another edition of Dark Reflections. That's the new name of our album review show. Today I am talking about, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this one. This is an album that I've been listening to for quite a while now. This is not a very well-known band, as far as I know, at least. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this one. I finally was able to get a hard copy. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I'm talking about Savagez album, New Dimensions. I'm trying to get a good shot for you. Savagez with a Z, okay? Savagez. Google search that. Savagez with a Z is the name of the band, and New Dimensions is the name of the album. It was released on January 1st, 2019, okay? And just for anyone who doesn't know, I'm going to give a quick little rundown of the band, a quick little bio. So they were formed in 2014, and they are from Brazil, all right? So, full disclosure, they're a new band, obviously, and they're from Brazil, where they speak Portuguese. So a lot of the interviews and reviews and stuff like that of them were in Portuguese, and I had to use Google Translate to get as much information about them as I could. So if I mess up any pronunciation or if I say anything wrong, I am terribly sorry, but I did the absolute best I could in coming up with this information. So they are from Brazil, specifically Sauluis, Sauluis. They consist of members Rodolfo Minac on bass and backing vocals, Hugo Andrade on drums, Rogers Roca on guitar, Felipe Morgoth on guitar, and their vocalist, her name is Anisha Krust. They were actually set to release their first EP in 2015, but that actually got canceled due to some lineup changes that were happening at the time. But then, 2 years later, they released their first single off what would be their first full-length album, New Dimensions, and their first single was called Deformed. And that's where I want to start by talking about, that's also the opening track of the album, okay? But I also do want to mention real quick, all right? I'm going to get a bit into the weeds with this one, okay? I'm going to use I'm going to use a lot of subgenre technical terms. And I want to I've said this many times, but I want to say again, to me, metal is metal. It's all metal, and I love it all. And I love the variety of metal music. That's one of my favorite things about it. So when I talk, I don't get caught up in the subgenre wars. I think we're all family. So when I reference the subgenres, I use that where they are useful, where the subgenres come really in handy, is adjectives to describe sound, a type of sound, all right? Because yeah, Slayer and Iron Maiden are metal, but they sound very different. So we call one thrash metal and one new wave British heavy metal, because to describe that type of sound, right? So that's how I'm using it throughout this entire review. Okay, I'm not trying to categorize anything. I'm not trying to attempt to define or label anything. I'm just trying to kind of paint you a picture based off what I personally hear, my own perception, what I'm hearing, okay? I'm not, these are just adjectives to me. I'm not trying to, like, pigeonhole anything or put anything in any categories or anything like that. So I just want to make that clear, and that goes for every review and everything that really I talk about, because I love pretty much every subgenre. I find something that I like a lot. So we are going to start with the track Deformed. This is the opening track, and again, the first single was released in 2017. And, okay, right off the rip on this album, it starts with this really cool, quick little drum thing, and then it just starts fucking charging. It's like you're on horseback charging into a war battlefield filled with fucking demons, okay? Fucking insane. It goes straight into the main riff, which has a really awesome like groove to it, but holds to being pure death metal. Okay. And full disclosure, this is why I wanted to start with this song, because this song I think really kind of encompasses a lot of the album. It's almost like a good thesis statement, you know what I mean, for the album. One of my favorite bands of all time, my favorite band of all time probably, is Iron Maiden. All right, seen them many times, have all their albums, love them. One of my favorite things about them is their use of the fucking gallop. I fucking love that, and I don't feel like I hear that a lot in metal bands today. I don't hear it at least as much as I'd like to. I hear it some, don't get me wrong, but not as much as I necessarily like to. And the gallop is thick on this album. It is throughout, and I so off the bat, I'm a sucker for what they're going for. It's just that out of the gate, it's straight up charging into fucking war and just sets an overall tone of awesome and pure brutality for the rest of the album. And after the second chorus, there's like this really heavy ass middle section that really shows off the bass and drums really, really well. And I really appreciate that. Now, one of the things, side note that I want to mention about this album right now real quick, one of the things I really appreciated about it was the production value. I feel like they knew what to focus on. You can hear every instrument, every note from every instrument perfectly well, especially everything, but notably the bass and drums. Why notably? Because they are often the ones that get drowned out the most, especially the bass. Oh, not on this album. There's this awesome middle part right in the opening song that like shows off the bass right away. Everyone in this band, every single one of them is clearly an unbelievably talented musician just on their own. Clearly. Because the musicianship on this album is unbelievable, considering this is their first one. This is insane. The off the rip, the guitar work. Yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to mention. So right here, I'm already bringing in some of the subgenres. The guitar work on this album, or on this opening track, Deformed, really. I hear the Swedish melodic death metal influence on this one. And that's one of my favorite subgenres. So off the bat, we got the gallop. We got some fucking almost Swedish sounding death metal. I love it. Absolutely love it off the bat. So now I want to talk lyrically. Lyrically, this album deals with a lot of different topics, and they range from religion to death to darker aspects of human nature. It goes a lot of places. But there are three big standout songs for me personally that stand out lyrically. The first one is Throne of Bones. It's because of its pure raw death metal brutality. All right. I love it for the same reason I love it lyrically for the same reason I love Cannibal songs. It paints a picture of pure death metal in all the gory glory. All right. It also is probably the fastest and most death metal song on the album, to the point where if this song had come out on a 90s Florida death metal band's album, it would have been right at home. Like, it's right there in line with everything that came out at that point in time. It's fucking fast, it's hard, it's brutal. The drumming is total chaos in the guitar, face shredding. It's absolutely one of my favorite tracks on the album, especially right off the title, Throne of Bones. Are you fucking kidding me? Outstanding. The next lyrical standout for me is Believe or Die, okay? To me, the most lyrically poignant song on the album. It has a very specific point, and it doesn't bury the lead at all. It has a very specific message, and it's speaking out against the tyranny and hypocrisy of organized religion. And I really liked the way they construct their lyrics, and I specifically enjoyed the way they express their disillusionment with Organized Religion on this track. I also love songs where once you read the lyrics, the title of the song takes on like a much more like intense meaning. And that's something that definitely happens with Believe or Die. The song also ends with a really creepy, like kind of ethereal sound, and like some like there's like screaming, but it's like background noise screaming. It's fucking haunting, and it'll make your hair stand up on end. Like it's really cool. I really like the way the track ends on that. Yeah, like so Believe or Die, definitely a standout lyrically. The third lyrical standout for me is the title track, New Dimensions. Now, it's a death metal song about death. Now, while that might not come off immediately as the most original idea, their take on it is extremely original. It's really cool. It takes you on like a lyrical journey through death as you literally enter a new dimension. Again, this is another one where the lyrics make the title hit much harder, and in this specific case, not only the title but the album title and the cover art. Like it makes you go, oh, like it's fucking. And I think it makes it all fall into perspective, and I think it's done masterfully. I really liked, like, sitting there reading the lyrics and having that realization. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Also, the main riff on this track to me is very Maiden-esque, very Iron Maiden sounding, which I love. And the way the verses hit on this one, the way the musical structure is on this track is something it just makes the verses hit really, really hard. It's a little different, and the drummer goes insane on this track. I love the drumming on it. And this song has the closest thing. It's not quite a breakdown, but it's the closest thing to a breakdown on the album that I could find. But like, it's super short and immediately leads into a fucking death gallop of monstrous brutality. And the demonic vocals on this track are spine shivering. It's fantastic. Yeah, I love that one. So those are the standouts lyrically to me. All right, musically, the first big standout for me is We Remain Savagez. All right, this is the anthem of the album, and by far one of, if not my favorite song, it could be. This song feels like, at least up to this point on the album, this is the band operating at top gear to its fullest up to this point, all right? This is a statement song. This is, we have arrived, all right? And if you're not fucking, I'm sorry, but if you're not banging your head clean off of your neck and screaming at the top of your lungs to the hook of this song, We Remain Savagez, I don't know what the fuck. I don't think we can be friends. It just goes way too fucking hard, all right? It gets me going every time. But the song starts with an almost like 80s Metallica feeling riff, then just sprints forward into another fucking death gallop, and then it just claws its way into a build, all right? To the point where there are only two options. Either your brain will explode inside of your skull and it will melt out of your ears, or you will simply burst into the Incredible Hulk or a werewolf or something of that nature. Because those, if the build goes for another second, because those are the only two logical releases for the intensity of that build, okay? Insane. I also especially really enjoy how this song just moves. It's very melodic, but has a very heavy death thrash sound. The solo isn't afraid to take control of the melody and slow it down for a minute just to build it right back up into a fucking face melter. Definitely, definitely one of the most head banging tracks on the album, and one of my absolute favorite to turn all the way the fuck up in the car driving down the road. Like, absolutely that one of the best for that on, well, they're all good, but like one of the best for that on this album. Now, the next one musically for me is the song Escape from Reality. All right, the vocals on this track, unbelievable. Okay, delivered with pure violent fury. All right, that will make your hair stand up. All right, this song is another example of pure death metal with a straight death gallop, like for a hook that'll break your fucking neck from headbanging. The first riff off this track has like this like building to it for the first few verses. Then it just like breaks into a fury and rage. And that break to me, like when it breaks, would be right at home on an Arch Enemy album. Just pure fucking fury, and I love it. All right. There's also this really awesome middle section that leads into like this gallop and a solo. The guitar work on this song is phenomenal, and it's definitely one of my favorite solos on the album for sure. And I can hear definitely some more Swedish melodic death metal influence here for sure. Absolutely fantastic. And then the third one that stood out for me musically is The Revealing Light of Despair. Probably my favorite guitar work on the album. It's absolutely crushing, thrashy death feel, but also somehow perfectly married to like the melodics of Swedish death. I also love the solos on the entire album, but this song, the Revealing Light of Despair, it has my favorite solo. It has my favorite solo on the album. It's fantastic, and then it closes on this really cool acoustic riff, and it's absolutely killer. Really stand out musically, without question. This album blew me the fuck away. Okay, absolutely blew me away in ways I never expected. If I were to be ever in a band, this is how I would want it to sound. I feel like I can hear at least a portion of their influences, and their influences are my influences. It's like we have the same favorite bands, you know what I mean? It's as if Iron Maiden, Arch Enemy, and Lamb of God had a demon child, okay? And that demon child's favorite bands were Death, Cannibal Corpse, and Soulfly. And then that demon baby went on to make music with those influences. That's what we're hearing, okay? It's unbelievable, all right? So, in terms at least of what they've been up to since January and the release of this album, New Dimensions, they participated in a really big tribute to the band Death, actually. And then in October, there's going to be a double album release. It's being called the biggest Iron Maiden tribute ever, and they're going to be on it. Also, in an interview with Metal La Nata, a Brazilian metal news outlet, guitarist Felipe Morgoth said that there are plans for one more video, for at least one more track on the album, but in addition to the 3 that are already on YouTube right now. If you go to Savagez, Savagez band on YouTube, search, that's their page, Savagez. If you search that, search Savagez band or search Savagez New Dimensions, you'll find their channel, subscribe to it, and then you can see their videos for Deformed, Escape from Reality, and We Remain Savages. The album is currently available wide through Europe, through Polymorph Records. It's also available in Japan and parts of Asia, as well as South America. It is not widely released yet in the United States. However, don't let that stop you. Go to their YouTube, listen, check out the music videos, follow them on Facebook and Instagram, check them out on you can go to Bandcamp or Amazon and download the album. So you can get a digital copy of the album from their Savagez, Bandcamp, or their Amazon. If you search them on Amazon, Savagez New Dimensions, it does come up. However, if you're like me and you're a crazy collector, someone who still collects and needs to get a hard copy of every CD that they own, I recommend if you go to Discogs, Polymorph Records, which is the distributor in Europe, has a page on Discogs, and that's where I got my hard copy from Polymorph on Discogs. So if you need the hard, this was a hard one to find, not available in the United States. And honestly, I only even became aware of this band because I think, full disclosure, I'm not even sure. I think they reached out. I think they said something to us on Instagram or so. I honestly don't know. I think they sent us a message on Instagram, and then I checked them out and was absolutely blown away by the first few singles and what I found. And yeah, it took me a while to find a way to get a hard copy of this CD, but I got it, and I've been listening to it nonstop for 2 weeks now, and I had to do this review. Look, I'm gonna take it all into ultimately, again, I only talk about things I love. Normally, I kind of try to keep things somewhat, reasonable. But honestly, I don't know if I can for this one. I love this one so much, and it's their first record. I'm just so impressed by it. I'm just so impressed by all of it. That I think I might give this one my first 5 out of 5 horns. 5 out of 5 horns. I think I'm going to do it. So yeah, I'm going to give this one 5 out of 5. Please follow them. Again, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Bandcamp. Check them out. They're unbelievable, and they're keeping the metal so alive. It's unbelievable. And hey, Savagez, if you guys see this, if you ever come to the United States, please, I beg you, come to Michigan. You have a giant fan here, and we will get the fuck down. We will party, and we will fucking, if you guys came here, I would bang my head off. I would be headless by the end of the night. All right. It would be an incredible time. So, yeah, just everybody check out Savagez New Dimensions, released through Polymorph Records January 1st of this year, 2019. Unbelievable artwork. Yeah, everything is fantastic. I think, you know what? Hold on really quick. I do always like to mention the album artist. All I could find was this mention right here. Produce and mix, illustrations and logo by Felipe Morgoth. Okay, so they're guitarist. All right, so yeah, that's awesome. I don't know if he's the one for sure that did the cover work, but that's who it credits. So absolutely awesome. I'm a big fan of cover art and cover artists. That right there is Vince Locke, cover artist of Cannibal Corpse. So yeah, always big fan of and like to mention them. So there it is. I finally did it. My review for Savagez New Dimensions. I hope you all enjoy. I hope you all go out and check out this record. It blew me away, and I really hope it blows you away the same way it did for me. I absolutely loved it. So I hope you all enjoyed this review, and we will be back again. We're always coming back. It's October. It's Halloween time. We're going to be doing a lot this month. So be sure to check everything out. And that's it from me. So bang your fucking heads. Raise your horns. Thank you for watching. I love you all to death. Good night.